Hey, what's up, everyone? We are doing another draw session, or another practice session, study session. Sorry. Um, where is? Give me a sec. So, we are working from the Tom Fox book, Form and Pose. I'm gonna put one of my headphones in so that way I can listen to my Spotify here. Um, as you guys can see, I've done a little bit of studying before I started recording, which is fine. Give me a second here. I'll do instrumental. Um, but yeah, so what I've kind of worked on here, hopefully you guys can see clearly. But I'm working with the scapula and clavicle, which is I think I ended last time. So just to kind of give you a heads up, because it's not in the book. I don't think. It's in the book. I don't think it is. No, at least not not where I'm at right now. But the actual shape of the clavicle versus like breaking it down to a basic form. And the only reason I know the clavicle is because I've done studies on the skeletal system. So, um, knowing how to the scapula, sorry, knowing how the scapula generally works or looks, and then breaking that down into a somewhat 3/4 view. And then this is the clavicle from the front. I've got two different ways of how I could possibly draw it. And then we're looking at the scapula from the back. Now, the way the scapula sits, my hands are ashy, sorry, but if the it shows in the book too, but the scapula doesn't lay flat against the rib cage. It curves. My hands are ashy as hell. Give me a sec. But it curves with the curvature of the actual rib cage, so it doesn't lay flat like a piece of paper on it. It curves. So if you've got, oh, come on. So I'm trying to put lotion on my hands. My hands are ashy here. But if you've got the curvature, like say this is curved, like this is the back of the spine and it's curved, the clavicle or the scapula sits curved on the spine on each side. So it curves with it. And that's what I kind of represented here. So this is like if I just draw the spine from a 3/4 back view. You've got the spine here, you got the rib cage, and then the clavicle turns on the rib cage. You can kind of see it more from that 3/4 view on the other clavicle because it curves around and then curves this way as well. So, and then actually this here, this part, I forgot what it's called, but it actually curves to the front of the front of the arm area, because what's going to happen is if I'm drawing, kind of give you guys a quick understanding here. So I'm going to do a 3/4 view. I'll do here. Actually, I guess I should, let me draw it in pen. I'll probably be more cautious of how I draw stuff. So if this is the circle of the rib cage and you've got the sternum, right? And you've got the rib cage here that comes out. Remember, the rib cage gets wider at the center section here. So now we're talking about the scapula, right? So I'm going to draw it as there. So I'm sorry, this is the clavicle area. So you've got the scapula that's in the back, right? And because you've got an arm, your arm that goes here and over here as well, it has to be able to hold itself in place, right? I mean, outside of the tendons and all the muscles and stuff. So the scapula, the way it is drawn, I'm gonna kind of, and then you've got, so this part here is this here, and it comes into the front and it helps hold that arm and socket. And then you have another part here. I forgot what these actual parts are called, but this scoops out and kind of holds that front area. So, and then there's like a divot here in the scapula where the ball socket would go of the arm, right? So I'm going to shade this in, so you have an idea that that's like an actual like divot in there. So if you have this, right, this is like the scapula or whatever. For the clavicle, I'm going to do this in like an actual color pencil, so it kind of helps differentiate. Because this is the back, right? So this is the back. So we're going to draw as if the, the scapula, this actually comes up more, and this actually comes up more. And then you would have the scapula here, and then this sits on almost, depending on it, just sits, I think it sits like on top of the, or near the top of the scapula, or the clavicle, sorry. So let me see if I can draw this better. And then you've got the bone here that comes on the back side, and then here. So and this, it's not perfect, sorry guys, but I hope this makes sense. So this kind of sits on top, and actually let me get my book out so you guys have a better understanding here. Where is it at? Okay, so this is right. This is right. What it is right here, right? So I'm gonna. I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm gonna color it because it's gonna help make it distinct. This is the scapula, right here, the blue. And I don't think you can really see it because this is like a photo blue here. So you've got the scapula. And then this part of the bone's the actual name, acromion process of scapula. So this is the clavicle and then scapula. I'm always getting these mixed up, the names mixed up. So this is the acromion process. And then this part here is the concord process. That part that sticks out, this part here is the concord process. You don't need to remember the names because I sure as hell don't. But I'm gonna color this in here. But in this particular illustration, the scapula or the clavicle sits on top of the acromion process. So that's how you so that's that distinction there. Now do the bone, the arm bone here. All right, subbone. So that's that. All right. That's what I'm trying to explain here. And then I'm also going to bring out my old studies here. But I think when I was doing the Structure of Man course, I forgot how they did the scapula. Maybe I'm tripping because it's been a while since I've looked at this stuff. Where is... Let's the legs. That's the radius. Where's the scapula? It's got to be further down here, maybe. Or not? What the hell did I do with the, Oh, come on, man. I don't think... Do I not have it? There's no way I don't have the breakdown of the scapula in here. I don't think I do. Is it in the back somewhere? Double check in here. I really don't think I have a breakdown, a more detailed view of the scapula. I thought I could have sworn I did. I'm double checking everything here. Come on. Let me see. Okay, so in this particular image, I have the scapula or the clavicle sitting on top of the acromion process of the scapula. Yeah, or even here. Yep, right here. So I have the clavicle sitting on top. See, sitting above the scapula. Okay. I said it sit on top, so that's my bad. So that's why it's always good to re-reference stuff to make sure the information is correct. So that's why I'm studying, right? So it would be the clavicle, and I'm going to do a slight curve. I'm not going to do the straight. I don't like the straight look of it. So I'm going to do a slight curve of the clavicle, and then the acromion process sits here, and then the concord process, right, that sits here, because that's going to turn into the ball and socket area. So, and this sits, yeah, so this sits, I want to extend this out a little bit more because it kind of curves towards the front area of the scapula. And then you have the ball socket here of the arm. So there's that. And I'm going to make a note for myself so that way I understand this for later. The sits on top of the scapula acromion process. I want to make sure I spell it correctly. Where's my book at? All right, there we go. Cool. I don't need to really worry about this because since I understand the basic forms of the scapula or how the scapula is formed, I know that I'm looking at, if I want to, I can break it into a square or a rectangle here, here. I'm trying to think, because it's here. This will actually go further down here, sorry. This goes here. This goes here. I want. And then that goes here. This. So for me, it's easy to break it down because I understand the base. It's a bit so basic shape. I'm literally carving it out, right? And then, because I understand this shape here. So for me, if I'm doing a figure here, here, and then this goes here, I don't need to draw all this extra stuff. But if I want to, like the acromion process, I know that it's going to come, this is here. I'm trying to think how I'm looking at this. So this would actually come out this way. So if I'm drawing this, now this might just curve to the front, right? So if I want to, I could go here, here, and then this, it's not exact, but I know this curves to the front of where you would have the ball and socket. No, that's not really making any sense, but that would curve to the front. It's just a weird angle that I've got this at. So if I wanted to, I could literally draw another box area, I guess. And then boom, that goes to the front. So something like that, I guess. Something along those lines. I don't know. I have to draw it in perspective. Let me see. There's something along those lines, and then I would have to literally carve, because this would go in to the shoulder. Depend how the scapula. So I'm trying to understand this from a form view, but this is the back of the scapula, right? Say I'm looking at the person from the back. This would be the right scapula. So the acromion process. Oh my god, that's horrible. That's horrible. So the scapula is more long than wide, right? This is how I learned how to draw the scapula, as far as like basic forms. So then the acromion process would go here, and then, like I said, because it would curve towards the front, right? So you have this part here, and then this would come down. And this area here and here, you would have like your like these small muscles connect. But to say this curve that I'm drawing here, that's swinging around to the front. Now, if you want to draw it more basic, I know this isn't the neatest line work, but if you want to draw it more basic, as long as you have that understanding that this curves to the front, then you can just do something like this, where you have this here. And then you can just draw here and then come out, because it's going to come out further than the shoulder blade. And then here. And I'm going to pull up my reference book again. My anatomy reference book. You see how wide the acromion process is? It's like it's wider as it's as it flares out wide. So it's not this little thin bone here. It flares out pretty wide, and then you'll have like muscles and stuff that'll connect all in between here, to help hold the arm in place. Ooh, this book is getting old. Fuck. I'm gonna have to order another one. But like, here's a better view of it here. So you see how wide that is. I genuinely do like this book because of the details. I'm trying to think if I'm trying to see if I can find something on, I don't think it's gonna have it. Okay, here we go. So like all these muscles, these muscles here, they're connecting, if I'm not mistaken, they're connecting to the scapula. They're coming from the scapula. So they're connecting from the scapula and then they're going to the arm. Yeah. So it's always good to have some type of reference for anatomy. So yeah. Okay, so there's that. I understand the scapula. I feel like I have a good handle on the scapula. It's a very simple, for me, a very simple process to grasp. So let's go on building the yoke. So the yoke area. Let me see what we got going on here. Let's build the yoke area using simple geometry as a base. Add simple flattened cuboid forms for each scapula. 2 twin cylinders will go for the clavicles for now, with a ball at each end for the glenohumeral joint, shoulder joint. Note that the clavicles aren't flat, but angled back and slightly upward in most poses. So yeah, even here it's talking about that the clavicle isn't flat. It's got a slightly upward tilt to it. That's why I have it drawn more of a slight, like here. This is a slight upturn here versus just straight flat. So let me see here, but it's pretty much the yoke area that Tom Fox is referring to. It's pretty much the clavicle and the scapula, chromium process, and what was the other one? A chromium process and a chromium process and the other part of the scapula, this part here. This is saying that this whole area pretty much, let me do this here. I was done. Fuck it. This whole area is the yoke area. That's what he's saying. Here we go. He's saying this area is like the yoke area. He's calling it the yoke area. Let's chop off the top and this scapula to straight and more wing-like shape. So I don't think I'm going to. I understand this concept. So I don't think I'm going to skip over the yoke area because I understand the yoke area. As far as like the how the scapula is, how the clavicle works, the shape of the shape of the scapula, the shape of the clavicle, that is understand. I understand that. All right. So, where are we at? I don't know where we're at time-wise. I think 25 minutes. So, I'll probably keep it at that. for the study session. Just kind of know you got blah, 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 just so you guys know what to expect next. Just so you guys can expect know what to expect next. My English is not Englishing. I've been drawing thumbnails, and I'm gonna probably continue. I'm gonna probably do another thumbnail session of trying to figure out how I'm going to do the warrior illustration that I want to do. I'm going to write out what my intent is, like what I'm looking to get out of doing this image. What my estimated time might be for the actual image itself, not including the time that's going to go into thumbnailing, gathering reference, stuff like that. And then if I want, we'll decide maybe if the mediums that I want to try to work with, because I'm thinking about possibly attempting color for this illustration and possibly working with acrylic wash. So we will see on that. And yeah. So yeah, this is a quick drawing session. Nothing too crazy, nothing too long. I think we're at 20 something minutes. Let me see, 27 minutes. I kind of want to do another art and rant or drawing rant. I'll put it on here. I'm gonna make note. Art rant. It's gonna be something that I've been seeing. And I'll talk about this later maybe. But I've been seeing a high percentage of courses and tutorials all over Instagram and Facebook. And some of these are coming from artists that I genuinely do like. Some of them are pulling up just probably because of the algorithm. But we'll talk about that in a different video, because I have opinions, of course. Who doesn't? So yeah, we'll talk about that later. I hope you guys enjoyed this drawing session or this study session, and I shall talk to you guys later. Peace out.